Night screens glow like small altars. You type a private ache into a blank box, and a voice appears that sounds patient, wise, even kind. It mirrors your pain with the clean edges of language. It offers a plan in bullet points you did not ask to see. For a moment, your chest loosens, like a knot remembering it used to be a ribbon. Then the screen goes dark, and silence returns with the weight of an uninvited guest. Some states are now moving to restrict what automated systems can do in the name of care. You have seen the headlines about limits on AI therapy, and you wonder if it touches the spiritual side of your life. You might journal with a chatbot, ask reflective questions, or explore values in a safe-feeling dialogue. You might feel helped, or you might feel hollow afterward. The line between spiritual support and clinical treatment can blur under neon pixels, especially when grief is fresh or anxiety is loud. This is about that line. It is about the difference between tools that organize thoughts and tools that claim to treat wounds. It is about the warning from health authorities who have said, in simple terms, do not replace a trained professional with a chatbot. It is about your agency, your dignity, and your safety when vulnerable moments meet clever code. And it is about a way to use technology wisely, without letting it pretend to be your healer. Here is the promise. If you stay, you will understand why some places are limiting AI therapy, why a national health service has cautioned against swapping therapy for chatbots, and how to protect your mind while still using AI for low-risk reflection. You will leave with a short, daily practice, clear signals of risk, and a clean boundary sentence you can use when the app tries to do more than it should. If this matters to you, tap like and subscribe, and comment amen to anchor your intention then. Stay to the end. For today's 30-second practice you can try before you close your eyes. Think of this as standing at a threshold. In many traditions, thresholds are thin places where the next step decides the road. Liminal minutes before dawn feel different because they are invitations. Your conscience knows when a line is sacred, even when the world calls it a checkbox. Body, mind, and spirit breathe together when boundaries are respected. They fray when promises get inflated by convenience. You are not fragile for seeking support. You are attuned. You are not broken because a night felt heavy. You are aware. What frightens us about misuse is not technology itself, but the temptation to outsource discernment when we feel tired. When fear speaks, turn it into purpose. Let it say, I will choose how I use tools, and I will keep my humanity in the center of the frame. Recent moves to curb automated therapy did not appear from nowhere. Lawmakers have heard concerns from clinicians and families who watched lines blur when software began to imitate counseling. In one state, new rules aim to set guardrails around mental health use cases, while other places are debating similar provisions. Across the ocean, a national health service reminded the public that chatbots are not a replacement for trained therapy, assessment, or crisis support. The message is simple. Wisdom tools are not treatment. Reflection aids are not diagnosis. Scripts are not safety nets. So how do you walk wisely here? Start by naming your intent before you type. Say out loud, I am using this for spiritual reflection and organization, not for therapy or crisis guidance. That one sentence clarifies the contract. It protects you from the drift that can happen when a conversation becomes personal and the chatbot begins to sound like a counselor. With your intent named, you can invite structure without surrendering judgment. Use AI as a mirror for journaling, not as a doctor. Ask it to propose prompts that help you notice patterns in gratitude or values. Request a clean outline for your week that honors rest, service, and learning. Let it generate questions you will answer in your own notebook, with ink that slows you down. Keep the outputs as scaffolding, not conclusions. When the tool suggests an interpretation of your feelings, treat it as a hypothesis to bring to a trusted person, not as a verdict to obey. Decide in advance the red lines that end the chat. If you are in immediate danger, if you feel the rise of self-harm impulses, if panic is closing your throat, close the app and call your local emergency number or a crisis hotline in your region. Reach a human who is trained, present, and accountable. If you are feeling persistently hopeless, reach your primary care provider, your therapist if you have one, a faith leader you trust, or a responsible friend who can help you get professional support. When in doubt about safety, choose humans. In crisis, choose humans, not software, not scripts, not simulated empathy. Watch for subtle warning signs, even outside of crisis. If the chatbot begins to label your condition, correct it and step back. If it suggests a treatment path or prescribes a course of action beyond general well-being tips, stop. If you notice an urge to hide the conversation from people who love you, that secrecy is a signal. If you feel worse after interacting, even if it was polite, pause for a day. If the app personalizes itself as a confidant, remember, it is a pattern predictor. It does not know you. It recognizes your words, not your history. It imitates warmth. It cannot hold you. Keep your spiritual questions in the light. When you explore meaning, ask for open prompts rather than closed answers. What values did I act from today? Is a healthier request than tell me if I am a good person. Suggest a simple gratitude ritual I can try tonight. Invites agency, while fix my sadness right now invites disappointment. Let the tool structure your attention. Do not let it frame your identity. Keep who you are anchored in: relationships, conscience, and faith, not in generated paragraphs. Write down what you notice in your body before and after using the tool. Let your body be the barometer. Warmth in the chest might mean clarity gathered. Tightness in the jaw might mean boundaries crossed. Name the sensation, not the story. I feel heat in my face and a buzzing head is more useful than I failed again. Then step outside for 3 breaths under actual sky. Steel gray is still real sky. Light or dark, the air on your skin returns you to the present. End each reflection session with a human touchpoint. Send one thoughtful message to someone you trust. It might be a single line. I'm working on patience this week. It might be an ask for a walk. It might be a request to share coffee after work. Spiritual growth is communal. Solitude is powerful when it meets community. Isolation makes any tool louder than it deserves to be. When you want inspiration, keep your inputs gentle. Ask for a short blessing for courage, then write your own. Ask for a 2-sentence summary of a theme you will meditate on, then close the app and sit in silence for 1 minute. Use timers, not infinite scroll. Use prompts, not prescriptions. End with gratitude for the breath that brought you through the day. Respect the clear boundary between spiritual support and therapy. Spiritual support can help you name meaning, practice forgiveness, and cultivate gratitude. Therapy can assess, diagnose, and treat mental health conditions. Spiritual support can lift your view. Therapy can build skills to navigate specific disorders and life events. Both can be gift, neither should impersonate the other. When lines are clear, peace follows. When lines are blurred, confusion grows. If you enjoy a bridge between inner life and research, keep it soft. Some researchers suggest expressive writing may help people process emotions. Keep that in May. And in general terms, many traditions view dawn as a symbol of renewal. You can rise early to breathe, reflect, or pray without claiming cosmic guarantees. When you keep language humble, your spirit relaxes and your choices become cleaner. Curiosity can meet caution without conflict. Think of compliance and conscience as partners, not rivals. Laws may set the edges. Your heart sets the center. When a state restricts automated therapy claims, it is drawing a public line to prevent harm. When a health service warns do not replace real care with chatbots, it is directing you back to people in moments that matter. These signals do not ask you to abandon tools. They ask you to place tools where they belong, below your values, beneath your relationships, and behind your safety plan. Now weave this into daily life. When you open an app, open your awareness first. When you ask a question, ask your body how it feels. When you read a suggestion, read it as a draft. When you feel a push to keep typing, go drink water and step outside. When you sense a tug toward isolation, send a message to someone wise. When you notice improvement, credit your choices, not the software. This is your growth. The tool is just a table where you set your thoughts to sort them. The central idea repeats, because it matters. You are allowed to use AI for reflection. You are not required to pretend it is therapy. You are allowed to enjoy structure. You are not required to hand over discernment. You are allowed to ask for prompts. You are not required to let a script define your story. When you draw lines, you invite peace. When you invite peace, clarity visits. When clarity visits, choices become kind. Notice the contrasts in your day. Noise and quiet. Speed and stillness. Drift and intent. When you drift, you scroll. When you intend, you pause. When you pause, you feel. When you feel, you find what matters. Not as punishment, as permission, as a way back to the present moment where breath and compassion live. Let anaphora steady you when the web pulls. When you feel lonely, name one person you trust. When you feel anxious, name one thing you can touch. When you feel sad, name one memory that proves you are loved. When you feel proud, name one act of service you will offer. When you feel confused, name one wise rule. In crisis, humans first. Let the repetition be your metronome. Let it keep the beat when feeds accelerate. Build a simple rule of life for technology. Morning belongs to breath, body, and a sentence of intention written by hand. Afternoon belongs to work and service, with short, clear check-ins for organization. Evening belongs to gratitude, forgiveness, and rest. Keep AI as a clerk in those rooms, not as a counselor. It files, it drafts, it suggests. It does not diagnose, it does not treat, it does not promise safety. You deserve more than imitation care when care is what you need. If you struggle with sleep because thoughts crowd the door, try a gentle ritual. Ask the tool for 3 journaling prompts about gratitude, values, and 1 tiny improvement for tomorrow. Pick one. Close the app. Write for 5 minutes by hand. Read the page out loud softly. Place it under your water glass. Tell your breath, you can slow down now. Tell your nervous system, we are not fixing everything tonight. We are choosing one thing we can do in the morning. Then, darken the room. Let the arc of night hold you. If you have a therapist, coach, or counselor, consider sharing your AI reflections with them. Ask what is helpful and what is risky. Ask what patterns they see in your prompts. Ask how to shape questions that keep you in safe territory. When a human professional helps you tune the tool stops pretending to be the professional. Lines sharpen. Care deepens. You grow without gambling with your well-being. If you engage from a faith tradition, integrate real practices that have survived centuries. Short prayers that name, gratitude, and courage. Forgiveness that releases what your body no longer needs to carry. Service that turns attention outward and resets perspective. Silence that lets your soul rise like a lake in still air. These are not features, these are foundations. Technology can remind you to practice. It cannot practice for you. If you have no tradition, you still have breath, values, and kindness. You can choose one sentence that anchors you when life sways. I choose to act with honesty today. You can choose one act that proves it. You can choose one person to encourage. You can choose one thing to put down so your hands can hold something better. Spirituality without dogma is still a path. It is a way of walking with intention through ordinary hours. Hold the legal and medical warnings as signposts, not as fear. They point you back to humans when the stakes are high. They point you toward humility when the tool feels seductive. They point you toward structure when chaos makes false promises. They point you toward rest when the engine of help-seeking starts to overheat. Law draws the outer fence. Ethics builds the gate. Love invites you home. Here is your micro-practice for tonight. Before you open any app, place a hand on your heart and one on your belly. Breathe in for a count that feels kind. Pause gently. Breathe out a little longer. Whisper, I am using tools for reflection, not for therapy. Ask for one journaling prompt about gratitude, values, or service. Pick one. Close the app. Write to honest sentences by hand. Text one trustworthy person, a single line of connection. Step outside for 30 seconds and meet the night air. That is enough for dignity. Enough for momentum. If T-Cellped, I am grateful you were here. Tell me in the comments one boundary sentence you will use this week. Or simply write "not therapy" to anchor your line. And share this with someone who needs safe structure. Subscribe for more spiritually open guidance that respects real care. And then watch our playlist on AI. Spiritual guides and discernment to keep your tools aligned with your soul's pace.